Oh my botchness. Tonight's episode was insane, from lopsided huge breasts to saggy baggies to even some head trauma. Make sure you guys stay tuned to recap with us episode 6 of season 4, Botched.
You're tuning into the destination for TV superfan discussion, AFTERBUZZ TV. And now, let the buzz begin.
Ooh, life. I like this. Happy Sunday, everyone. I'm your host, Stacey Olivias, and you can find me on Twitter at Stacey Olivias. We are recapping episode 6, season 4 of Botched. But before we begin, let me introduce my beautiful co-host.
Hi, everybody. My name is Juliet. You can find me on Instagram at Bonjour Juliet. I'm so happy to be back. I've missed 2 episodes now, and I'm so happy to be back.
So excited. And my name is Anissa Barr. You can find me at Anissa Barr with 3 R's at the end. I'm so excited for this episode. Lots of stuff going on.
There's definitely a lot of steps. The first person we want to go over is Stephanie. Oh my goodness. She had these saggy boobs, and I felt so bad for her. She got her first breast surgery at 17 years old. She wanted them because she felt like her original breasts were too small, and she felt like they were pointy. She just felt like insecure about them. So she wanted these breasts, and I guess the doctor did something he wasn't supposed to do. He actually gave her surgery, but he had to name it reconstructive surgery in order for her to get it at that young of age. So her mom consented to it, and she got this, and it was such an intense surgery because after Dr. Dubrow looked at her breast after he was doing the surgery, he found that one of her breasts were actually ruptured. So what did you guys think of this whole situation for Stephanie?
I thought it was really interesting because I know that you have to have like parental consent if you're underage, but what was really interesting is he was saying if you're actually under 23, there's certain procedures that you cannot do. You can't have silicone under the age of 23.
Yeah.
And I was like, wow. I just felt like maybe as a woman, like at that age, you feel like you obviously gain weight and like things will change, but I didn't realize, like I was just really shocking. I was like, oh, 23. So there's science behind it. So parental consent or not, you got to make sure you have a good doctor and you're making these good decisions that are going to be life-changing.
Yeah, and I mean, I remember when I was like in high school, everyone says you're not officially done developing till you're like in your mid-20s.
Really?
Really?
I didn't know that.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I took
I thought like 17.
No, I took like
Yeah.
a science class. It was like about the body, and they said that you're not done like women are not officially developed until they reach about around 22 to 25, depending on your body. And the fact that she was able to do this at 17 makes me think like whoa, like even people are so insecure at the time, but you have time for your body to grow and grow, and then if you still don't like it at the time, you can still go get it. But I just feel so bad for her because she had like a jelly boob coming out. It was so sad.
And I think the implant, Dr. Dubrow was saying that the implant was ruptured when they put it in. It was already ruptured, so then her breasts formed like they were a ruptured implant.
You know what I thought though? I
sad.
thought when he was examining her boob, I thought they put it over the muscle.
I think he did mention that. I was sitting on the muscle.
On the muscle?
The muscle was holding everything like
Yeah.
a shelf. So it was acting as like this thing that was just holding everything, which it cannot do. And that's why she was saying that she was in so much pain all the time. And I can't believe, having a part of your body that doesn't allow you to be with your children, pick them up, bring them to games, and not be she has to lean so much on her husband, which we obviously people need to, but to the point where she can't pick up her kids. I thought that was really saddening. For a decision she made at 17.
Yeah, it was definitely an intense surgery. I feel like, I don't know, as a parent, if your daughter came to you and she was really insecure and she felt like she just maybe was teased or anything for being like flat-chested, would you consent for your daughters to have plastic surgery at that young of age?
If she can afford it on her own, maybe we can discuss it.
Hell no.
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 How come?
Because I look at it as there's other people in this world that you can look up to as role models, besides as a mom. Like, look at Ronda Rousey. Like, she's the most amazing UFC women's fighter in the world, and she's tough, she's strong. Look at Ellen DeGeneres. Look at Oprah Winfrey, look at these other women that never probably had plastic surgery in their life, and they're beautiful women and they're strong. And I personally don't think that you need it at 17, but if you're like in your mid-20s and you still feel the same, pay for it on your own.
Yeah.
You know, pay for it on your own. Learn this. Just pay for it on your own.
Yeah, 100% agree. And again, if doctors are saying that before 23 is not smart, and I know people do it all the time, just wait. I'll go by fast. At that age, you're like, oh no, it's a year. I can't. Oh my god, I can't wait that long. It's gonna go by.
And sometimes you learn to like embrace your insecurities after a while. Like you grow into them. You're like, you know what? I'm just gonna.
And I think this is a life lesson learned too, as well for her and for anybody who watches the show. Don't do this at a young age. Don't agree to do this for your children at a young age, because you never know what could happen.
Yeah, and it was crazy when I was growing up, you know, in high school and after high school. I remember girls that I was in elementary school with, or just after high school, getting breast implants. Like that was big, and people wanted to get, even in college. And it was just seeing that and looking back at that age, I'm like, oh, maybe I would do it. But then now looking back at it, I was like, I'm too young. You're too immature. And yeah, I definitely feel you on that. I think it's a better thing to wait until you get older and can make better decisions. The next person was George. What did you guys think about George's surgery? And so sad that he had like a traumatic moped accident at such a young age, and he had this horrible scar, and he had 3 eyebrows. What do you guys think about that?
Well, when your head has so much blood, so when you cut yourself on your forehead, you bleed more than anywhere else on your body.
Really?
Oh, I didn't know that.
There's so much because it's around your brain, and so I have a scar between my eyebrows, and then my parents always talk about how much and quickly I bled, and as soon as I seen like he was open all over, so definitely a bloodbath. And as the doctor was saying, he was like, well, they were more concerned about saving his life than making him aesthetically pleasing, which is what you want. You know, he has to live with the aesthetics after the fact, but at least he was alive from that surgery.
Yeah.
Right. Oh my gosh. Just seeing and understanding what he had to go through 3 years ago, that's really scary. And the fact that he went there because he had a fever and he wasn't feeling good makes you think that maybe you should have somebody else go and get the medication for you if you weren't feeling good. But it's still sad for what he did. And always wear a helmet.
Yeah,
you know?
always. That is
Always
a
good.
huge lesson for this episode, was always wear a helmet. Sorry. Because he was going to go to the pharmacy, which is such a sad story. He was going to the pharmacy to go get medicine because he had a fever, which is sad that no one could help him out in that circumstance. And he went and he said that he crashed his moped into a steel fence because he might have fell asleep. That was such a sad story. But he actually had 3 eyebrows, and he had to use eyeliner because people would look at him and stare at him. Even his little daughter that he recently had would stare and look at his boo-boo on his head.
Exactly. And point at it. Which it was saddening to hear, but at the same time I found that story cute. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
I think there's 2 ways to look at it. You can just embrace it and be like, okay, that is it. And she's your daughter, she'll love you no matter what. But that was a huge concern throughout the episode. He kept on talking about his daughter. He wants to do this with his daughter. So that was his message to her, was that he didn't want to scare her or appear non-aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. And the thing is, what I liked about this particular story is that he's not going in there to get plastic surgery because he wants it. It's because he wants to fix something that happened to him. And this is something that I never really realized with the doctors, that they're just not plastic surgeries to get your boobs done, your abs, whatever you want. They're also to fix something that traumatically had happened to you. And the things that they do is such great miracles.
Definitely.
And it's just they're life-changing moments that these doctors are able to do with these patients.
They're definitely at the epitome of reconstructive surgery. That's what they do by nature. They're botched. Everything's reconstructive, because at first when you're going into a surgery and you're going to get, for say, breast implants, that's just a surgery. But the fact that these botched doctors are going back again after someone else's botched work.
Yeah.
Again, it's always a really big challenge. And actually, going back to the first patient we talked about, I remember being at a really neat moment where he was fixing her breasts and bringing her up on the table to go to see how her breasts were doing. and he was just shaping them and figuring, okay, this one's good. All right, we're gonna try to do this. And at the end, that victory dance. Do you guys remember that? Yes, because he's just so proud. And how could he not be? Just this incredible challenge that each week we get to witness is really, really neat. Really cool.
And he said they were perfect.
Yes, I know. And he said they were perfect, and he mentioned, he was like, okay, we don't say that because then we get worried.
Yeah.
We're gonna get in trouble. But he knew there's a huge victory for him, and that was really neat to watch.
Those came out perfect.
Definitely.
They looked natural. I was like, all right, I need to go to him.
Yeah, they were really good. I was so mad at censoring. I'm like, what? Just show us the boobs. Just the boobs.
Yeah, and thing is, George's story was so. I mean, you could just feel like how much of a life-changing experience it was for him, because he even said that every time I look at my scar, I have to be reminded of my accident, which was really sad. And then, you know, for his daughter, he also felt like, maybe he also didn't want her to like scare your friends, or their friends say when she's growing up, like, what happened to your dad's head? Right. So I think just, especially because it was a facial surgery, I felt like it was just such a life-changing thing, because he felt probably insecure about it. Every time he talked to someone. Yeah, he even said every time he spoke to someone, they would ask him about his scars.
And on top of it, he's a twin. So having to see literally what you used to look like all the time, it's this walking mirror of yourself. Right. He said that. He goes, after this surgery, I really hope, number one, that my daughter is just, you know, happy, and that I make her proud, that I start looking like my brother again, and that I can just move on. And it's true, you're saying that he always looks in the mirror and has to relive it. People point, they're like, how'd you get this? And relive it. It's annoying, and it's his face. There's not, you can't escape it. It's not like he can put concealer on it or anything. It's really there.
And I mean, I agree with him, because like with me, when people ask me, oh, how'd you get that scar? And it's like, I have to explain people, how did I get it, what it is. And for him, what really fascinated me, there's a few things that fascinated me. One was that they put these
oh my goodness, expanders.
Expanders in his like head, and I didn't understand why he was doing that. And you know, even though they showed the visual effect on what they were gonna do, but I still didn't get it until his second surgery.
Right.
Then I was like, oh, okay, so they literally stretched the head, take him out, and then fix it all up. I'm like, that is crazy.
That was insane.
That was mind-blowing.
That was it was just a sewing project with his forehead. There were just all these seamstresses with his skin. It was crazy. And it was interesting also how we saw him the first time with the expanders, and then they had to fill them up, and they got even bigger, and he looked like he had boobs on his head.
Would you guys, so he had to have these expanders for like more than 4 weeks, I believe it was. If you guys had to go through that and have those huge like boob looking things on your head, would you go through that if you were in George's place? Would you guys go through that?
I think so actually I've been to several plastic surgeons. I have a scar in the middle of my face.
Did you want to share your story a little bit?
I mean, it's really, I was home, I was little, and I was running. My mom was always, when you talk to me, look straight at me in the eyes. When you talk to someone, you have to look them in the eyes. Right. And so I was running as a kid. I'm like, and she's telling me like, do this, do that. I look over my shoulder, and I'm like, yeah, for sure. And I just tripped and fell head first into a door.
Like the knob, or?
No, just the door, but it was just the impact was really hard that it just kind of, my face exploded, basically. But what I mean, I forget where I was going with this, but
if you would do what George did.
I've been to plastic surgeons to try to get rid of it. And the reason why I've always said no is because they're like, okay, well, you have to get Botox. We have to cut some more, do this, then you're going to have a patch. Then it's going to be at least a year process of having a patch in the middle of my face. At the time I was 16, and I was like, I can't go to high school like this. It's not worth it. He was way more dramatic than a patch. He had these two huge things, which I cannot even believe, just that like him walking around, and every head must be turning, because you're like, wait, what's up with that guy? Right. But I think it was worth it. He's an older man. It wasn't that long. It was only a few weeks, and the result's amazing.
And the thing that he made it possible for people not to try and stare is wear his blue teal hat that he wore. And that was really, something cool. But at the end of the day, like, he kind of embraced it. He's like, yeah, I walked out in public a few times. Because if you really think about it, he's not there to impress the public on what he's doing. He's there to fix something that he wanted to do. And what really matters is his friends and his family, not people on the street.
Yeah.
So it was a little good moment that he was wearing the hat.
I feel like I would have a hard time having to have those two things on my head, because then you would have to, I don't know, I would probably stay in for a couple weeks, because I would be so, I wouldn't want people to stare at me, and I would just be super insecure. But I think the job that Dr. Nassif did was incredible. Just seeing the result after, you couldn't even tell he had a scar.
No.
It was so amazing,
No.
just what he was able to do and give him 2 eyebrows again.
It was a real like Frankenstein episode. I felt
Definitely.
like
Yeah.
you saw him cut it and then pull the skin, and they were trying to patch it together, and it was just like, wow, this guy's head's Play-Doh. It's insane.
Yeah.
It was a crazy surgery. It was really neat to see, and see a lot of crazy stuff on Botched, but this was definitely one for the books for this season.
Oh, definitely. And the fact that Dr. Nassif is able to do that, I think I'm going to go to him when I'm done with all my surgeries.
Really?
Yeah, because I've always wanted my scar to be like, when I say normal, I mean like a normal chest, like you both ladies. And I've always wanted that, but I know that I've always needed a surgery, and till this day, I never know when my next one's going to be.
Do you have to have surgeries really often?
When I go see my cardiologist, he tells me when I need one, but I know I'm going to need one in the future, of course. But when I'm officially done, that's what I want to do. And I think I'm going to go to Dr. Nassif for that.
That's amazing. Yeah.
Hey, I do your after show on AfterBuzz TV, please.
Yeah, I
Gotta
little
hook a
discount.
girl.
please. And then, you guys, let's go over Elizabeth Starr. What did you guys think about her case? I mean, her boobs were lopsided. They were huge.
Yeah.
And she was actually is an adult film star, and she didn't want to do any changes because of her career. What did you guys think
Yeah,
about her
because
story?
their source of her financial support. Her lips were also huge. We didn't talk about that.
They
but there's
were
a lot
very
of stuff going on with
huge,
her face.
Yeah.
Barely moved. She has had a lot done. But again, her boobs are so big that was plenty to focus on and plenty to talk about. It was really insane, and it's funny because we always have those characters on Botched who we have the ones who want to fix the eyebrow, and we have the ones who just want these massive body parts, and it's just very interesting to see because you're like, how do you really see yourself in the mirror? And she, at the end, it was just crazy. I'll let you speak some more on that.
No, yeah, like the thing is with her boobs, like I understand that's where her money is, but at the same time, if you want to be healthy, if what he's saying is like, if you let this go, it's gonna erupt something, it's not gonna go good, and your health is more important than a career. I understand what she does as a living, and that's fine, but I'm pretty sure if she takes at least a year off of what she does, or does something else in the industry that I don't know what else they do, but and just take care of yourself.
Yeah. And the doctor made a good point. He was like, I understand this is your source of income, but without you, there's no source of income. And she was talking in the beginning, she also has children. I don't really know what age they are at this point, but still, that's just so many factors to keep in mind. So I was very shocked at the end when she was like, I think I'm going to wait. I might do it later, but I'll wait for now.
And that's kind of, in a good way, good to know that she's going to do it later.
But
But
is she?
when
Is
is
she?
yeah, but
When's later,
exactly
yeah.
when is the later? Because is it going to be the later when you realize some stuff's leaking out of that infection?
The doctor called them a ticking bomb. Her boobs are a ticking bomb, and he was saying this is going to be disastrous. And this doctor is known for always giving the right diagnosis.
Exactly.
And he's in the past told patients, I really don't recommend this. You really shouldn't. If you want to go bigger, don't. But if you do this. This was the only option. So you know that really is the only option because he wouldn't suggest it.
Yeah, because she at 25 had these I don't know how to say this word, polypropin
Polypropin is
They're
what
like pumps, right?
Yeah, they're like pumps, and they inject fluid to make your breasts expand. And she wanted these after she saw her friend's breasts in also the adult industry. They were bigger, but at 25, she already had 500 cc's pumped into her breast.
Right.
So she wanted them to look bigger, And then she just had a lot of medical issues.
A lot of medical issues, but also it was funny because she was saying, I saw my friend do it, and as we were having lunch, I saw the boobs getting bigger and bigger.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, your boobs are growing.
As we speak, it's just like a Barbie blow-up doll in front of you, and she was like, I want that, which is funny because I feel like most of us would be like, I don't want my body parts changing as we speak.
Yeah.
Like, it was really crazy. And also, you mentioned the she had 500 cc's.
She had, at
500
first, at
cc's.
25, she had her first first breast surgery, and she was 500 cc's were put into her breast.
In the opening package, she was saying, oh, but they were so small. I said small, and so I didn't think much of it. And she's telling the doctors they were so small. And when the doctor stopped and he would explain to camera, okay, well, 500 cc's on a flat-chested woman would
my
result
gosh.
to a full double D.
Yeah.
A full WD are decent sized breasts, and she
Right.
thought those were small.
Too small.
So I was like, wow.
Those are too big.
Right?
It's probably also, I think, being in that industry, there probably are a lot of people with plastic surgery. So the
Right.
influence,
But
maybe
the-
you're around it a lot, and you feel like, I want to make more
Right.
money, I want to get more job or opportunities. So maybe this will help if I go bigger and bigger and bigger.
It probably.
The thing is with that industry, there's more. I have friends who are in the industry, so they would tell me like there's more options to what you can do in the industry than just having big breasts. I mean, so I think she has options than just.
I love the doctor. I wrote this quote down when they sat down in the exam room, and he sits and he looks at her and goes, "So, what are your breast goals?" And I was like, hashtag breast goals? Like, I thought that was a pretty funny moment I had.
And she said her goals were to have symmetrical breast and a non-invasive surgery.
Right.
But I just feel like how much more can those things expand without the skin like ripping? I don't
Back
even know how.
problems.
Yeah.
Can you imagine functioning with two
Right.
like huge watermelons?
And their lopsided breast. And also she was the doctor realized when they were checking in between her breasts, they saw that she had a staph infection.
Yeah.
And she still didn't want to fix her breast after she had a staph infection.
And she lied
those
to
are
the
those are
doctors.
they could be deadly. Yeah.
She lied to the doctor.
What did she-
Because they asked her what is under the Band-Aid. She goes, "Oh, nothing. It's just there to hold
Oh, I did.
it
I
up."
don't remember.
Don't
There's a
just to
bump.
hold it up, and then they're like, "Okay, well, can we take a look at it?" Sure. And that's when they're like, "That's an infection."
I feel like, do you guys think that she
Wow.
knew and she just didn't really want to disclose that information by fear of not being able to proceed with surgery?
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think also she just probably she didn't want to do anything about it or just get them reduced or take them out and then have to heal because they said she would have to heal for like a year,
yeah.
if she did do something.
That for me really enforced the fact that they are really humongous. Like obviously you can see it, but having them on yourself, like there's crevices, it feels like small
Yeah.
parts where she's like, oh well, this is leaking, I have this infection here, and just
Like it's no big deal.
like it's no big deal, but it's just they're almost another part of her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that can really affect your overall health.
I wonder how
Like-
she sleeps.
I don't know. I hope not on her back.
I know.
I don't think you can sleep on your back.
So
You can't sleep on your stomach.
yeah.
Side, maybe?
Maybe.
Yeah, those things were huge. And I just hope she gets some sort of help for her staph infection because that could get really
Yeah,
dangerous.
I'm worried about her. I hope she's okay, and I
Yeah.
hope she does make the right decision.
I would have liked them in the episode to expand more on what the consequences
Definitely.
would be. Because you just kept on saying this will be disastrous, this will
Right.
be disastrous, you will have destroyed boobs. What does that really mean? Are they going to have to be gone completely and she's going to have almost...
I think he said no breast. Like, you will have no breast.
So what does that mean? Is she going to become flat-chested and just it's her areolas? And it's kind of, you know how Angelina Jolie or people
Yeah.
have to get...
The double mastectomy. Is it
double
mastectomy?
mastectomy is that kind I wanted them to expand more on that because she seemed definitely really upset about it, and it was hitting her, and she was just really really saddened, even though her face wasn't moving. It was hard to tell. But yes, I kind of wanted them to really play it down. We need to hear these consequences. We
Yeah.
need to hear all these people who don't really have it needs to click.
Yeah.
And
Right.
I feel like it didn't really click. I feel like she was more upset with the fact that she couldn't get the surgery she wanted.
Right. And the thing is, I totally agree with you, because these doctors need to explain a little bit more, because what if there is somebody out there that has the same situation or wants to do the same situation, and they're watching the show, but they don't have enough information. So this show could probably give them the help that they need.
That's definitely true.
Well,
Instead
I
of-
think this show amongst like definitely makes people double think and
Yeah.
before going into surgery.
yeah.
You watch an episode of Botched, you're definitely going to be asking way more questions
Yeah.
than having not watched an episode going into surgery or speaking to any kind of doctor.
Definitely.
Right.
And like every episode, I notice they'll have like extremely traumatic, you know, surgery like George's, and then they'll have someone that kind of is addicted, I believe, a little
Yeah.
bit to plastic surgery and making things abnormally bigger or different on their face or body. And so I feel like every episode is kind of that
Yeah.
Yeah.
same thing, routine going on.
Yeah. It was very disturbing also when they were talking about basically her implants are eating breast tissue. So they're self-destructive. They're eating the breast tissue.
Oh,
That was just such a disturbing image that I really wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and I, like you were saying, we want to know the consequences of these surgeries, or not of these surgeries, but of these like having breast implants that are leaking and stuff. Because what can that cause? I mean, it can cause staph infections. So obviously, we know that
Yeah.
now. But what else can that cause? Because I think people don't think about those consequences before you go. I don't really think. I mean, with Botox, I've heard like you can have paralyzed like facial parts and stuff with
Yeah.
that, and a lot of people don't know.
Yeah.
Like, what are the consequences of these surgeries?
Yeah, and then going back with Stephanie, I remember she even mentioned that the doctor didn't even have a license, or it wasn't FDA approved.
Yeah.
Well, I think he should have ticked because she was telling the story and she was saying, yeah, my friend mentioned it. And so we talked to the doctor and he said, yeah, we're working on the FDA. We're working.
Yeah.
Keyword working.
Working.
If someone says working on something, it doesn't mean that they're working on something.
Definitely. I don't understand too. That's hard for me to. I mean, I get a 17-year-old. They're like, I want a surgery now. They're
Right,
probably
you're a
not.
teenager. You're not even 18 yet.
You're not
just
thinking
like,
about-
oh my god, I want it now.
Yeah.
like, type of thing.
But her parents, like, how did they not think like, hey, I want
Out
to be
of all
very-
states, they're in Utah. Like Utah is like it's a Mormon state, so I was really surprised that the parents consented to that at 17.
Yeah.
Nothing against Mormons. I have Mormon friends. They're great. But, you know.
It's probably
It's
like
not culturally
Yeah.
really
yeah,
I mean,
popular.
yeah, like in
popular.
LA, SoCal. That's what growing up here I've heard. I mean, tons of people have implants. And it's
Well,
Right.
maybe that explains also why maybe some of the research wasn't really necessarily done, or some of the questions weren't necessarily asked because maybe there's not just those discussions are not really happening. So people think, okay, well, yeah, let's just go into surgery and don't really take those steps that are really, really necessary.
Right.
So if you guys, like, if anything, what would you look for before you went and got surgery? Like, if someone was going to give you a great deal on something, would you guys be hesitant, or would you be, like, scared? Or what are things that you would check to...
I mean, I love free stuff, so definitely I'm in. But I just, like, if a guy in the truck outside when we walk out of the studio asks me if I want a free tattoo, I'm going to be asking some
Yeah.
questions,
Right.
even though
Oh.
it's free. So same thing applies to
Yeah.
surgery.
Yeah.
Yes, you have to do the research.
Yeah.
There's no
Oh,
Groupons on
Yeah,
breast
because a lot of
implants.
people are getting Groupon, like a lot of
Really?
things done on Groupon. I've seen a lot of like Botox, this like cool sculpting stuff. There's all these things that you can do with your body, and I see those on Groupon a lot.
Well, the thing
Lip
is-
fillers, tons of things like that.
The thing is that if you're going to make any kind of important purchase, the small amount of money that you are going to save is not worth it, especially when it affects your health and yes, your physical appearance, because that's also a mental thing that's important to a lot of people. So no, don't be stingy
Yeah.
on your surgery.
Right. I'd rather spend 10 grand on something I know that's going to look good, a professional, done 100% on my research, and have a good, and, spend that much money than spending, $2,000 on something that's just ridiculous. It's like getting a tattoo. It's like, do you want to spend $80 on this tattoo that's going to look ridiculous, or are you going to pay $150 on a tattoo that's going to be on your body forever? It's pretty much on your body forever.
Yeah.
And you want that body part, you better expect to pay that much amount of money.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people, especially like I've known people that go to Mexico, go to other countries to get cheaper surgeries, and I don't know if that's the smartest
Right.
thing to
Don't
do.
be frugal when it comes to plastic or cosmetic surgery.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And always do your research, guys. Come on. Like, don't, it's 2017. Do the dang research.
Yeah.
You
But
know?
what kind of, I mean, what if one surgery was good for another person, then you go and get a surgery from the same doctor and it's like a horrible experience? That's what I
think
always
people
wondered.
should have options on when it comes to research. Go to like at least maybe 4 or 3. There's
Yeah,
it's
get a second
get
opinion,
a
a
second
third
opinion,
opinion,
a
a fourth.
opinion. I mean, there's so many here in LA. I mean, go to Beverly Hills. I'm pretty sure there's like 5 doctor's offices like, right next to each other.
It's just like Starbucks.
Like right
It
next to
is
each other.
definitely everywhere around here, and that's what I think would be great on the show for them to do is like tell people like look for this in the doctor, look for this, especially in plastic surgery, because I mean these things can be life-threatening for people, and I definitely think there could be health issues after you get a surgery. So I think a lot of people don't really think about it, and I feel like with the rise of social media and Instagram, all these different social media sites, people are going to get like surgery and like lip injections and all these things done. So
And the
I think
Photoshop.
it's, and the younger, I feel like people are getting it. How do you guys feel about that? Like younger, like teenagers, like at 18 getting a surgery done just because you're insecure or about
Well,
subsequent
again, I think
features?
it's have that discussion and also know that your body, unlike most popular opinion, is not necessarily developing in the way that you think it is. So a certain breast, yes, you can be 17 and get a successful breast surgery. It happens every day. But
Right.
you need to know that you, for instance, we found out today, you're not supposed to get silicone. You just have to know what works for you, your age, your DNA, everything your surgery needs to cater to who you are.
Yeah.
Exactly. And like the things, the girls that do this on Instagram and everything like that, I'm just like, okay, I didn't look like that at your age. I still look 17 and I'm 24. Like people still check my ID.
Do you guys think there's a lot of pressure right now? Like, I mean, as a woman, just looking at social media.
Oh, yeah.
And I mean, I feel that personally.
Oh,
I
yeah.
look
I think
and
it's
like, I have to
because
look
like
this.
as for me, I grew up with social media. So when I was in high school, YouTube barely became anything. So it was just, it's just how it is.
Definitely,
I mean-
definitely. Okay, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for tuning in. We can't wait for you guys to see you again next week. Make sure you send in your comments, questions on YouTube and Twitter. And before we go, I want to my hosts let you know where you can find them on social media.
You can find me on Instagram at Bonjour Juliet.
And you can find me at Anissa Barr with 3 R's at the end, and also give us a 5 stars iTunes rating.
Yeah. And you can find me, my name's Stacey Olivias, and you can find me at Stacey Olivias all over social media. Thanks so much for watching, you guys, and we can't wait to see you next week.
From executive producers Maria Menounos, Kevin Undergaro, Phil Svitek, and the entire AfterBuzz TV staff, we would like to thank you for listening to the AfterBuzz TV network. To watch or listen to other after shows and post comments or questions, be sure to visit AfterBuzzTV.com. I'm Sir Richard Wentworth, and this has been a presentation of AfterBuzz TV.
Buzz you later.
The views expressed herein are those of the hosts only and do not necessarily reflect the views of AfterBuzz TV or its owners or principals.